Hello and welcome to the Blood Pigment channel. In this video we're going to look at the 2023 Adepticon convention from our perspective. Adepticon was March 22nd to 26th in Schaumburg, Illinois, just at a suburb of Chicago. This convention had about 6,500 people at it, and its focus is on wargaming. Firelock Games was able to go, and they had a big booth, and they had a bunch of events going, and they commissioned us at Blood and Pigment to run their events for them this year. We ran some Oak and Iron events and Blood and Plunder. Jason and I were able to attend this year, but Dan and Guy were not, but we're hoping to next year. This is actually the first time I got to meet and hang out with Jason in real life. We put together quite a few events, probably a little more ambitious than was intelligent for ourselves. We ran events all day, pretty much the three main days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, including several tournaments, learn to play events, open play sessions, historical scenarios, and large multiplayer scenarios. So we're going to walk through some of those games and check it out. Encourage you, if you live anywhere near or have the ability to attend next year, should be a pretty great year for a Firelock there as well. We're trying to make it kind of a destination event for Blood and Plunder and Oak and Iron players. Jason and I both arrived Wednesday afternoon and got to work right away helping set up the Firelock booth. They drove up from Miami with the typical amount of disasters and cars dying and whatnot, but they made it, brought a lot of stock. It takes a lot of material to set up a booth like this. It was fun to meet a lot of people that I've interacted with online a lot. Dexter was there from his Plunder Den channel. Getting to meet Jason was great. Garrett Swader is on Discord all the time, and the Paint Nights, and he helped a ton with events all week. Great to meet him. Got to rub shoulders again with Mike Tunez and Rufus and Kai Devane and Miguel Vega. Anyway, we were all there setting up that booth Wednesday night. Almost too many cooks in the kitchen. We were all getting each other's way. I ended up getting out of the way and setting up. I found this box of more of the 3D printed native models, Young Braves and Niases, and I sorted them all out and packaged them up. I think they all sold during the convention too. Got all set up Wednesday night. Went over to the one of the weird things about the convention this year. Apparently they're growing, and they were too big for their one main Renaissance Hotel convention center, so they used another half of a large hotel across the freeway there. The Hyatt was about 5-6 minutes away by free shuttle bus. A lot of the events were over there, including all the Firelock events. So we went over there. They gave us 2 big rows of tables, very spacious and really nice to be able to lay everything out there. But got everything set up that Wednesday night. Went out to eat with the guys from Firelock, and then got up early the next morning. We had events starting at 9, so we were usually there by 7 setting up. First event we had for this convention was a Oak and Iron game, Plunder on the High Seas. Jason organized all the Oak and Iron stuff, and he made a massive amount of terrain, was built up to loan people, and did a lot of demos. He was the man for Oak and Iron. This event was just kind of a learn to play or come and play easy event. 4-player games with 100-point forces. We had 3 different tables, 12 players, I think. Yeah. Almost all of our events were full, and some of them had a waiting list longer than the number of players we set up, so it was encouraging to see so many people sign up for these events. I was playing at the closer table here. Josh in the hat there, he was an awesome teacher. He was just jumped in and was helping every chance he could. He was running Oak and Iron events or games every time I turned around. It's a fun game. I got to just play this. The guys at my table knew what they were doing pretty well. I'm no expert at Oak and Iron, but it was a lot of fun. I tried to get my battle line moving here. The guys next to me at Jason's table were having a lot of fun and talking a lot of smack, but there was a lot of burning ships over on their table too. It's funny. try to get my... It's funny to see how people sail ships in this game. It's really easy to get in your own way. So some people had battle lines, some people had gaggles of ships, trying not to shoot each other. Garrett over there in the hat had a massive ship compared to all of us, like a second or third rate, maybe first rate, I forget. So some asymmetric play, but it was 2-on-2 in this battle. There was objectives to run around and try to grab, and we did. Some people really focus on objectives, some people just have fun shooting each other, but it's a great, fun game. I practiced my tournament force. It was a 75-point tournament later in the week, but there's a 100-point game, so I added another ship to fill it out there. This mat, a little bendy, and it rolled up a little bit too long, but it looked like we had stormy seas, which we in fact did have a rough seas event during this game, so that's funny. All these mats got thrown in the back of the U-Haul pickup and got rained on the night before, so they're a little soggy. It didn't matter. Got some 3D wake tokens out there. It's a cool 3D printed objective token that Jason put together there. There's burning ships over at the right-hand table. Big mess of ships all tied up there. So that was first event of our day was 9 to 12. And then we cleaned up that. Then during the middle of each day, we had a 1 to 4 session where it was open play and demos, or learn to play, which I thought a lot of people would just come by with their own forces and play, but it was mostly people wanting to learn the game. So I think we had 12 slots for each of these sessions, and they were full with waiting list. So we had people learning to play Oak and Iron, usually about 1 table of Oak and Iron and 2 tables of Blood and Plunder. I got to meet Jeff, a gentleman who was around the Firelock tables frequently all week. Took a lot of great pictures that he put on Facebook. So if you want to see more pictures of the Adepticon Firelock games, check out the Blood and Plunder Facebook group, and Jeff Redage, I think. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but he posted several albums of 30 to 50 pictures, so best photographic evidence of the con for Firelock. Anyway, got to meet him and play a fun game here, 150 point, I think. I was playing Benjamin Church and his Rangers against some Spanish militia crew fighting around this church. With a good time. He hadn't played a whole lot, but he knew the rules. He had his forces built up, and it was great fun playing against him and meeting him. But I felt bad because I jumped into this game. He already knew what he was doing pretty well, and then right after I started playing, all these other people showed up ready to learn, but Josh and Garrett and Jason ran a lot of demos while I was having fun. That was our second event, and then at 6 o'clock after that, we had a pretty epic multiplayer game here. We had 3 tables of 7 players each, about 21 players. It's blood in the water scenario. So, idea behind the scenario is we had 3 Spanish players, which included at least 1 big ship. We were supposed to have 3 galleons, but various mishaps brought that down to 1. So we had 2 6-rates and 1 galleon. For the Spanish players, each Spanish team also had a escort ship, a smaller ship. And then there was 4 pirate players, or pirate English buccaneer kind of lists, trying to capture that Spanish ship, treasure ship, we're calling it. So 800 points aside. I think one cable had 750 because we had some 150 point lists, but in general it was 4 pirate ships at 200 points each, and then the Spanish ship split it any way they like. But I saw the one I was playing in had a 600 point galleon and a 300 and with 2 players in it, and a 200 point light frigate escort. This was a blast. It was a little bit chaotic, but it was really fun seeing all those people on the table, all those big ships. There's Dexter there playing. Looks like Tyler. Tyler didn't get to play very much from Dead Man's Chest, but he swung by to check it out. He was running demos over at the booth in the other hotel non-stop. He did great work over there. We were playing at the end here. couple friends with their pirate ships, and got some pirate outfits here. We set up our galleon kind of in the middle, with the frigate behind, and then they kind of circled us with their pirate ships. The biggest challenge in this was setting up well. The pirates often set up kind of higgledy-piggledy and were too far away, and then it was hard to pull off a coordinated attack. And one strange thing that just happened is a lot of the Spanish players were more experienced because they were building these big lists and these big ships, and a lot of the pirates were less so, which made it easier for the Spanish to win. I was playing with Miguel here. He was running the Spanish army, the Marines basically, and I was running the gun crew in this galleon. There's Garrett standing up there on the right. He was running the 6th rate. Dexter set up his ship a little too far away, and then it took him a while to get into action, which was sad. But got some boats, piraguas, canoes. There's Miguel's awesome Spanish force that he got painted up by Rufus. Looked really good. 30 of those new Spanish soldier models. Really awesome. This was about a 3-4 hour game. We're using army scale rules where you have one commander per side who has the hand of cards, and chooses a card, and then all 3 or 4 players on that team activate one unit. So most people were doing something most of the time, but still with that many people it moves a little slow. A lot of chatting and joking and smack talk here. This galleon had 3 decks of 3 medium cannons, so it wasn't crazy, no heavies or 20 gun broadsides or anything, but still, when 3 medium cannons hit one of these smaller ships like this Corvette in the foreground or the Bermuda sloops, it will hurt it. Knocked off a mast of this Corvette. That little sloop that got up too close to me, we threw fire pots into it, and it ended up having more fire than it could handle and just burning up, which was sad for the pirates. I got to meet Chris. I've interacted with him on Instagram a good bit, and he had this blue frigate behind us, kind of supporting role escort for the galleon. Great to meet and strategize with him. There's the second table here. We had a Spanish flute as the escort for the 6th rate. Somehow this flute did a cross the eye of the wind and did a whole loop. Actually, Tyler did get to play this when he was running that flute. I'm not sure how he did that. There's our table. Everybody had a good time. I think we got through 5 turns, I think. There's a lot of blood, but the pirates didn't actually grapple the Spanish treasure ship. We knocked out one of them with those fire pots. One of them got a mast blown down and had some leaks. They were having a hard time getting back in the game just because that mast was dragging them down. But I did take a rake. I was trying to avoid a stern rake from that Corvette, and I turned to avoid that and lined myself perfectly up for a rake from the bow, which 3 medium cannons, I think, from that sloop gave us 13 damage, which was pretty embarrassing for a galleon. But we survived, didn't lose too many models, although that unit of grenadiers in the front deck was pretty well exhausted. But those army units are pretty tough. And then that finished up around 10 o'clock, I think, 9 or 10. Cleaned up. Some of these, we built a lot of loner forces. It took a lot of time to put together loner forces and tear them down. We weren't sure how many. We'd build 3 or 4, and then people would show up and need 4, maybe 5, 6, 7 sometimes loner forces. So a lot of building lists, putting them away. I'm glad I brought as many minis as I did. I think I brought about 400 minis. That was pretty much all my luggage. Miguel and I got a nice one-on-one game after the event here. Late, I wanted to try my goofy New England village garrison with my civilians locked up in their garrison houses. He brought his Westos list from the Fire of the Frontier. But I was able to peck away at him from my good cover, and then they tried to burn my house down, but it didn't quite work, and then I was able to fatigue him out and drive his commander back, and eventually drive off the Indians. So that was a fun game. Always fun to play the silly, thematic, but funny list there. So that was our first day, 3 events, and then I got a good fun game there in the evening. There was always people coming around looking at the ships on the table, those big ships that Garrett and Jason were able to bring. I didn't bring any, it's hard to fly with a galleon. But those are a great eye catcher. Had a lot of people stop by and ask about them. That was our first day. Check out the second video for day 2.